Entering basic arithmetic calculations into Matlab looks very similar to how you would enter them into a calculator. Addition uses the plus sign. So for example, we can type 5 plus 7, and when we press enter, we see that the answer is 12. Likewise, subtraction uses the dash for the minus sign. So we could type 5 minus 7 and press enter, and we see the answer, -2. For multiplication, we use the asterisk, which is located above the 8 on the keyboard. So we could type 5 times 7 and get the answer. And you should note here that for multiplication, you have to have this asterisk. There are other computer programs like Mathematica where a space will imply multiplication, but this is not the case in Matlab. You have to use the asterisk. So for example, if you typed in 5 and then a space and then a 7 and you press enter, you see that you get this error. Matlab says, I don't know what you're talking about. This is an unexpected expression. So it doesn't know what you're trying to do. So make sure that you use an asterisk whenever you need multiplication. Now for division, we use the slash, so 5 divided by 7. Now here you should notice that the default for Matlab is to round to 4 significant digits. And you can change this, but for now we're just going to keep it as is, that we get 4 significant digits for any operation. For exponents, we use the caret, and that is located above the 6 on the keyboard. So for example, we could have 5 raised to the 7th. And when we press enter, we get the answer there. Let's say we want to create a bigger number, say something like 5 to the 17th. So we could have 5 raised to the 17. And note, I don't need to put parentheses around the 17. So when I press enter there, now see the answer has switched to scientific notation. And here the E is indicating that we have this first number here being multiplied by 10 to the number that follows the E. So this is saying that we have 7.6294 times 10 to the 11th. Alright, and if we had had a negative sign here instead of a plus sign, then it would be times 10 to the -11th. So Matlab also recognizes the standard order of operations. So for example, if we enter 7 plus 5 times 2, the 5 and the 2 will be multiplied first, and then the 7 will be added on, resulting in 17. However, if what we truly meant is that the 7 and the 5 should have been added before multiplying by the 2, we have to use parentheses. So we can do an open or left parenthesis, and then 7 plus 5, and then the closed parenthesis, and then multiply by 2. When we press enter, we get the expected answer of 24. So you should note here that you cannot use square brackets or curly braces instead of parentheses. Those types of brackets have a different meaning, and we will learn how to use the square brackets in some of the later tutorials. So now that we have exponents and parentheses, we can do something like take the square root of a number. So let's say I wanted to take the square root of 4. I could take 4 raised to the 1/2. Now I can either do this as 0.5, and in that case I don't need any parentheses, or if I wanted to instead represent 1/2 as the fraction 1/2, I could do 4 raised to the, and then in parentheses 1 divided by 2. So note here you do need the parentheses so that Matlab knows to divide 1 by 2 before putting that in the exponent. Alright, Now, suppose that you want to take the square root of a negative number. So let's say I wanted the square root of negative 4. So I type in negative 4 raised to the 1/2. So normally you would expect to get an imaginary number here, but what happens? Well, you just ended up with negative 2, and this is because of the order of operations. So what's happening is Matlab is first raising 4 to the 1/2, and then multiplying by the negative sign in front. So if we truly want to take the square root of a negative number, we need to put that negative number in parentheses. So negative 4 raised to the 1/2, and this will produce the imaginary number that we're expecting. So notice here we have 0.0000 plus 2i, where I is the imaginary unit. So you should make note here that when Matlab displays an imaginary number, it will always display both the real and imaginary parts, even when the real part is 0, as it is in this case. So to recap, you should now be able to use the command window in Matlab to do basic arithmetic.